There was a time not so long ago when a single device signified power, status, and indispensable connectivity. Its distinctive click-clack keyboard was the soundtrack of boardrooms and bustling financial districts worldwide. BlackBerry, the undisputed king of mobile communication, the ultimate corporate status symbol. But how did a company so dominant, so integral to global business, completely miss the strategic shifts that would render it almost irrelevant? Today, we dissect the hubris that blinded a titan, proving that even the most successful form factor is no shield against fundamental paradigm shifts. BlackBerry was more than just a phone. It was an ecosystem, a statement. For years, Research in Motion, or RIM, its parent company, commanded absolute loyalty from executives, politicians, and anyone who needed secure, reliable mobile email. They had built an unshakable fortress, seemingly impervious to competition. Yet, in the blink of an eye, or rather the swipe of a finger, this fortress began to crumble. This wasn't a sudden ambush. It was a slow, deliberate erosion, triggered by a strategic blindness to an emerging threat and an almost religious adherence to their own past success. Research in Motion's dominance wasn't accidental. It was built on a series of shrewd strategic moves that created an almost impenetrable moat around its business. First, security. BlackBerry offered government-grade encryption, making it the device of choice for sensitive communications. This wasn't just a feature, it was a non-negotiable requirement for many corporations and government agencies. Second, enterprise server lock-in. Companies invested heavily in BlackBerry enterprise server infrastructure, creating a powerful network effect. Migrating away wasn't just inconvenient, it was a costly and complex undertaking. And third, the addictive push email interface. Instant, reliable email delivery, combined with that tactile, satisfying physical keyboard, made BlackBerry an indispensable tool for productivity. Our data streams here visualize the staggering market share RIM achieved among professionals, often peaking well over 50%. They weren't just a player, they were the benchmark, confident in a strategic position that seemed unassailable. Then came 2007. Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone, a device that fundamentally redefined mobile computing. But in the boardrooms of RIM, the response was one of strategic blindness, bordering on disdain. The iPhone was dismissed as a fragile consumer toy, lacking a proper keyboard, with terrible battery life. RIM's leadership saw it as an expensive gadget, not a serious business tool. Why would their loyal enterprise customers abandon their secure, proven BlackBerry for something designed for multimedia and casual browsing? Our visual data streams highlight this critical divergence. While the iPhone's streams swell with nascent consumer applications and an intuitive tactile interface, BlackBerry's leadership doubled down on their enterprise network, reinforcing their existing strengths. Their cost-benefit analysis favored protecting their legacy hardware, their established ecosystem. They calculated that the immediate costs of pivoting, of investing in a completely new paradigm, outweighed the perceived threat of a device they believed was fundamentally flawed for their core market. This commitment to their past success, this over-reliance on the enterprise fortress, was a strategic miscalculation of monumental proportions, ignoring the surging wave of app-based consumer data that would soon redefine the entire industry. The market, however, began to speak volumes that BlackBerry's boardroom was deaf to. Consumer demand for touchscreens and apps exploded, and RIM's enterprise clients, whose employees were increasingly using iPhones and Androids, started asking for similar capabilities. The innovation paralysis had set in, leading to panicked, flawed attempts to catch up. The BlackBerry Storm, their first full touchscreen device, was plagued with usability issues, a critical misstep. The Playbook tablet, meant to challenge the iPad, was launched incomplete, lacking basic features like native email. Our visual shows the metallic BlackBerry piece, making these erratic, poorly calculated moves across the board. Each move is reactive, lacking a cohesive strategy, rapidly losing ground to the sleek, glass-faced competitor pieces that maneuver with agility and vision. The very rigidity of its established form factor became a strategic liability, preventing it from adapting to the fluid, ever-changing landscape of mobile technology. The inevitable consequence of this strategic blindness was BlackBerry's collapse into near irrelevance in the hardware market. Once synonymous with cutting-edge technology, its devices became relics, cherished by a diminishing few, the company was forced to make a painful pivot, stepping away from manufacturing its own iconic hardware and instead focusing on software and security solutions, an echo of its former strength, but a stark admission of its hardware failure. This serves as a stark summary of the immense strategic cost of ignoring the consumerization of IT, where employee preferences for powerful, intuitive consumer devices began to dictate corporate IT policy, rendering BlackBerry's enterprise-first approach obsolete. The BlackBerry saga is a powerful, almost tragic object lesson in strategic decision-making. It profoundly illustrates the danger of falling in love with your own successful form factor, your established market, and your perceived strategic moat. BlackBerry believed its physical keyboard and enterprise security were immutable advantages, unshakable differentiators. They failed to grasp that the very definition of a smartphone was shifting beneath their feet. Their past dominance, rather than being a shield, became a blindfold, preventing them from seeing the fundamental paradigm shift heralded by the iPhone. It proves unequivocally that yesterday's innovation can become today's liability, and that continuous strategic adaptation is the only true constant in the Boardroom Gambit. Join us next time on the Boardroom Gambit as we delve into more high-stakes power plays and strategic downfalls. If this deconstruction of BlackBerry's missteps resonated with you, be sure to like this video, share it with your colleagues and friends, and subscribe to the Boardroom Gambit for more strategic insights into the plays that shape our world.